Good morning and welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours with me, Dr Audrey Tang. Now I have two very special guests here today. Who have we got joining me in the studio?
Hello, my name is Isabel Worley. Hello, my name is Sophie Worley.
Oh, it's great to have you, and they've been helping out in the studio today. We've got a great show for you today. We have got a performance brain coach joining us. Her name is Iaia Colella, and she works with high-level elite athletes and sports people to encourage them to really unlock all of those pathways in the brain to make you perform at your best. Now, my two guests, you do sports as well. What are your favourite sports? Let's go to Isabel.
I don't like all sports. I like playing netball and tennis and swimming and gymnastics.
Wow, that's quite a lot of sports. And what about you, Sophie?
I like playing gymnastics and swimming.
Wow, lovely. And out of all the sports that you do you have a favourite?
Not really.
Okay, you just enjoy all of them. Excellent. Sophie?
No, I like all of them.
And when you play these sports, do you do any form of mind practice before you do them, or do you just, exercise and practice the skills physically?
I practice physically.
I don't really know.
Okay, that's all right. Well, that is what today's show is going to be about. We know that when it comes to sports, we all tend to practice physically, and that's what we think is enough to get us through that level of performance. Iaia is going to teach us otherwise, so let's meet her.
Iaia, welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you here.
Hello. I'm gonna be here.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I'm looking forward to this. Sport is central to most nations' sense of national pride. So athletes would probably have a lot of pressure on them. How does brain performance coaching help them?
It is true, especially on elite level. Pressure is huge. Is huge, and because they are not performing for themselves anymore, but they are performing for something bigger.
Yes.
And this is something that I always ask to my athlete, like, why do you do it? And most of the time, the answer is because I want to represent my country. And I think that when you choose that kind of responsibility, pressure naturally grows.
Huge, isn't it?
So
because the country can be quite mean.
Yes. Well,
as well.
They're quick to support, but they're equally quick to put down.
yeah, so it's a huge pressure. And what I do is I help athletes build brain skills that allow them to perform freely even under that pressure that most of the time is enormous. So I like to say that I train their brain at the same level that they do with their body.
Love that.
That is not something that usually people do. So they train a lot their bodies in the gym, but we don't see people that train their mind on the same level.
Yes.
No.
So,
But brain is a muscle. It's literally a muscle. So we can do this thing, training cognitive skills and these brain skills that allow them to be more focused and manage the pressure and unlock the full potential. I think that the difference with brain training is we train and we use an amazing characteristic of the brain, that is the neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
The ability to adapt, change, and create new neural pathways in the brain. And that things allow athletes to unlock the full potential and achieve their goals, their dreams as performing a high level and represent a country. So
Love that.
I think
So interesting that the brain has that capability. This is such an interesting topic. So how has your professional journey led you to what you do now?
I studied psychology in Italy, so I have a bachelor in psychology, and after that I completed a master in cognitive and clinical neuroscience in London. And along the way, I just continued studying and took advanced course in mental training or learning performance. And I just fell in love with the brain and how it's work. And I've always been active. So I started work with the student and professional, but there was something with athletes that makes me curious about that. And everything started after running my first half marathon.
Wow.
That's a funny story, and I hope that...
No, share it,
Please do.
Now, you can't say that now.
Okay, now I need to say. But I hated running at the beginning, so I choose this challenge to create this new reference for myself, and I signed up for this half marathon. But
Wow.
I didn't prepare physically for that. So honestly, don't do it. don't try it. But I used to run like 10K, the long distance, and so I used a lot of the strategies and the techniques that I studied during the last years, and the result was that I ran that half marathon and 21K without stopping a second. It was a huge result for me. Just training my brain, we can say. So after seeing the result, I basically realized, okay, if that I'm not a professional athlete, I can achieve this kind of result. Imagine how much more a professional athlete can unlock doing something like this. And so then I started from scratch, literally. So with few athletes, I just started and noticed how they increased their performance, and the performance was with better execution and more calm and precise, and also the emotion that the athletes feel during training and competition was really, really different. And now it's becoming a mission. Now it's bring mental training and give to this job, this topic the right value, and because it's really useful for everyone, and especially for athletes.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is just not a question that we've prepped, but just something I was listening to on the television recently. And I know we're recording this early, so the results of this particular contest will have come out by now. But the Grand Prix, everyone was talking about how Max Verstappen is right now at the moment, at the time of recording, is doing better than they expected. And what they're saying is, but he has the understanding and the memory of being a world champion a number of times. However, the two that are competing for it against him right now don't. And that makes a big difference. How does that knowledge, I know I've done it, make that difference to compared?
I think is something that we work on memories. So
yes.
The memory of being a champion is definitely something that this person, these athletes can use every time they perform, because he can unlock different memories.
Yes.
I don't know if he has a mental coach or
I'm sure he
works
does.
with the specialist, but definitely he knows how to enter in the right state, mind state, and use all that memory in the moment of the performance.
Love that. I love that. And so relating to that now, we only see that moment of performance on TV. And so what are we missing? You know, we get judgmental. We're just going to sit there and go, well, you just didn't win. You know, they weren't very good. They missed the ball. You know, you're shouting at the and it's not even as if I could play football or do anything like that. But what are we not seeing?
So, yeah, we see the performance, but not all the things that are behind it. And it's, for me, athletes lives in discipline, sacrifice and commitment. And I think it's hard to imagine if you haven't done it. So just remember the few training that I have done for my half marathon. It's useful sometimes to put yourself in the same shoes that sometimes help to, of course, understand better the other person. But yeah, I work with also young athletes between 16 and 19 years old, and they balance their daily life between training, studies, gym, nutrition. That's maybe the other, like the friends are enjoying their life out, and I think that this kind of commitment is extraordinary. And when I look at them remembering this thing, I say, okay, I cannot see the like machines or robots, but humans that are willing to push beyond limits and put a lot of efforts in what they are doing to achieve a big goal, a big dream that they have.
It's huge, because you use the word sacrifice, and that really connects a lot there. And I think we do need to recognise how much that person has sacrificed to get to the level that they are. Which goes some way to answering the next question of, there is an attitude of, well, they just get paid all the money to do it. If I got paid all the money to do that, I could work out with it. I don't think you could, but there is an attitude. How do we show more compassion? How do we teach people to understand these sportsmen and women are humans?
Well, understand and start to notice that maybe there are a level of commitment, willingness, resilience that are behind it is definitely the first step. And as athletes, of course, they have to perform, because it is, for most of them, is a job. And in that case, I help them to work on some skills that allow them to perform even when they have this pressure, and they have to perform even if they don't want, or they are not in the right mindset in that moment. And yeah, definitely I think that learn to enter in the right state for athletes is important, to switch off all the external approval. I think something that I really like break my heart is when athletes lose their passion because of this constantly external pressure that they have. And in my program, I used to allow them to reconnect with their why. So why they started, why all of this effort is worth it, what is the dream behind, what is the identity that you want to create with all of this effort, and that's allowed them to perform for a deeper reason, instead of just the big bucks and the external expectations. That's definitely something that it's useful for them.
This is fascinating.
This really is.
You're staying with us, and and we will be back just after this.
Well, oh gosh, there is plenty. I think performing arts world is such a unique ecosystem, you know, it's just like a pressure cooker. So even though obviously all of us can struggle with mental health issues and it's a big problem, actually performing artists, and I deal with a lot of stage performers, so people who are on stage, they face unique challenges and they have very specific needs. So if I just list them, you know, there is the issue of identity enmeshment, like, you know, me equals, you know, how well I perform may equal my self-worth. Obviously very unsociable hours, which means, you know, difficulty dating or having a family or having friendships outside of the industry. The industry in itself is very unstable, so very underfunded, so people struggle to find jobs. There are not enough jobs, you know. There is this kind of culture of, I call it feast and famine, so you might have a period when you are kind of getting actually quite a lot of jobs, or you are on a semi-permanent contract, and then suddenly you hit nothing, and you go to auditions, and maybe you get like 100 rejections or no's before you get a yes. So that's kind of very tough. There is also physical injuries, and obviously, it's not like if I'm ill or injured, I can't say, "Oh, I'm not doing a show today." It's very tough. I mean, you can, but it's difficult. There is also this requirement, to be vulnerable, to be open, to go very deep, to show your raw emotions. Which is very, very tricky, and there is a big emotional burden there. But at the same time, the industry expects you to be tough, to be resilient, to have thick skin, to go through all those rejections. So there is this kind of inherent contradictions there as well. And then I think a lot of stage performers, especially those who work with the body, like dancers or circus artists, they have a lot of kind of issues around body image and the body, there might be certain needs around kind of eating disorders or body dysmorphia, or just constant pressure to look certain way, and at the same time maybe be rejected because you don't like. You don't look like somebody, whatever somebody imagined.
Yes, that's the thing. So whatever somebody imagined.
Yeah, and I'll come back to it later, I think. And then obviously there is performance anxiety, which is really hugely misunderstood, I think. So in my experience, this type of anxiety actually develops as a result of criticism or humiliation or rejection or some insensitive language used in audition or performance or even rehearsal.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We are speaking with Iaia, who is a brain performance coach, and we are learning about the many pressures, sacrifices, and the resilience that professional athletes at that elite level need to have experienced in order to perform at that level. And you're the person that helps them do that, which is incredible. So on that, what are some of those key aspects of reaching that elite performance that we may not recognise affects people? Because I might be able to, I do a park run, 5K, I get round very, very slowly. So I can possibly see doing a half marathon. That's about the limit I can get to. But when you hear about the sprint runners in the Olympics, the world record holders, I can't even put myself into that mindset. So what do we really need to begin to understand this going through their heads?
So the first key aspect, I think, is confidence.
Yeah.
That we mentioned. So from a neuroscience point of view, confidence is not just a feeling that you have, but it's more a brain state. Because every time that with your brain you predict success, your brain releases neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, and that allow your brain to activate other part of the brain and enhance focus, decision making, motor control. So every time that you are visualizing and thinking about the positive situation, the positive scenario, you are releasing something in your body that is really useful, and we naturally want to feel the feeling.
I love that.
Feeling. And so when we believe that we can do something, the performance is different, is better.
It's true, and it's that's where I guess practice comes into that as well, because you unlock when you've done it right and when you've achieved what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, so using like visualization or this kind of strategy, we want to build confidence, visualizing the positive scenario that, of course, you want during that performance. And it's also true the opposite way. So if your brain predicts failure and mistakes, in that moment your brain releases different neurotransmitters like
and it just happens,
cortisol and adrenaline, and in the wrong proportion, and that's not good for your performance.
No, because you lose focus, you lose all of that. That's so interesting.
It really is.
So feel confident before a performance and during the performance is important for athletes at that level. The physical level is already huge
Yes.
and high. So the difference is on the mind, basically.
That's true. And sorry,
The other thing, the other skill, I think, is the one that we mentioned, the mental state. So the ability to enter in the what we call flow state. I don't know if you have experience of the flow state, but is the optimal zone where your mind and body are connected, work efficiently without effort, and the performance seems like automatic. Time slows down, so is the perfect zone to perform. In that moment, an athlete have the nervous system that is really balanced, the emotional regulation is perfect, and they can perform at their best.
That's amazing.
It's something trainable. So people sometimes think that happen just randomly, but we can train the flow state.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you want to ask
No,
something?
I just find this extremely fascinating and so enlightening.
Yeah, definitely. So, what if you've trained and you just have a bad performance? It just happens, and then you've got the media having a go, you've got social media having a go, which is almost even worse. How do you regroup after that? Because you've got someone saying, I did everything, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
First thing, analyze what happened without judgment.
True.
First thing.
Yeah.
So really analyze, okay, this is what happened, this is the performance, and let's analyze without too much be self-critical and judgmental. And what I like to do is reframe the failure, because failure is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's an information. So I like to reframe it as a feedback and allow them to don't identify with the failure, with the mistake. So you're not a good or a bad athlete based on that performance. So it's really, really important to detach the identity from the mistake. Also because our brain, it's always in alert, so every time that we focus on mistakes and instead of just learning from that, so ask yourself, okay, this is what happened, what can I learn from this, what can I do next? Sometimes we feel stuck in that loop and we just think about the mistake, and when your brain think about something that doesn't want, there is this thing that is interesting. Your mind doesn't recognize the word not.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want an example, if I tell you don't visualize a monkey that is jumping on my head, I guess that everyone imagine the monkey, because this is how our brain works. So when we understand that, when you understand that focus on what you don't want is not useful, in that moment you just say, okay, the mistake is this one, it's fine, what can I learn and what do I want now? So focus your brain and direct your attention on the positive scenario and what you can learn from that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And then on the flip side is, if you're doing really well and you're having a very good run, then how can an athlete or a sportsman continue to stay focused and continue to have good results?
Yeah, because it's so easy, isn't it, to just go, that was great.
Exactly, and kind of rest on your laurels,
Well, that's my favorite part, because after a great success or an achievement, what I always say to my athlete is celebrate it fully.
Lovely.
Because we are not used to celebrating ourselves a lot.
True.
And that's a shame, because every time that we have a great success, an achievement, our brain releases dopamine, and we want naturally to feel that emotion when we need it. So something that we do is anchor with maybe a little gesture or a word that state, and it's something that is a state that you can have access whenever you need. So after a good performance, you can remember all of those emotions and use it maybe when the dopamine drops and you need motivation and keep going again and again and again. At the beginning of a season, maybe a season is a long period of competitions, and it's important to have a clear plan. So also setting in this case, it's really important because allow them to have a clear plan in front of them, and keep the motivation high step by step, competition by competition.
Yeah, really good advice. Is it true that athletes can hit a wall, as we say, and how can you help them when they start to plateau?
Definitely, and also they have to deal with most of the time injuries or setbacks. And I think that plateau happens when your brain stops feeling challenged and stimulated.
Okay. So
in that case, I think that for athletes definitely is something that can be influenced from by overtraining or poor nutrition, repetitive routines, but at the same time, brain sets limits everywhere. we don't even imagine how many limits we set every day, and I think that when plateau happens is because our mind starts to set a standard and a limit, and in that case it's not about working harder, because this is most of the time the strategy that people adapt to overcome that plateau, but it's more show to your brain that you can go beyond that limit, the standard that you have in that moment. So working on new pre-performance routine, or use a lot the visualization and visualize a different scenarios, it could be definitely interesting to overcome the plateau.
That makes sense.
Yeah, really interesting. We're keeping you, Iaia, and we'll be back just after this. Hi, I'm Bianca Chappell, and I'm going to share with you a few tips on how to develop a morning routine that serves you for a really bright and fulfilled day, and also a night routine of how to wind down from the day and enjoy sleep. So the days are really, really busy. We all know that we have a lot on, and very, very rarely do we take time to actually calculate what is included in our day, what we need to do to be able to navigate it with success. So my top tip would be to set yourself a morning routine. Morning routines do not have to be anything ambiguous. They can be very small, but just steps that takes time for you to just take stock of your day in the morning. I quite like to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and enjoy the morning club, where it's just me and my calendar, looking at what's involved in my day and really scheduling what needs to be done, where it needs to be done, and how I want it to be done. This doesn't have to be a huge proportion of time. This can be 5 minutes, this can be 15 minutes, this can be half an hour. You set the tone for your day because it's your day, but never underestimate the power of just being organised. So once you've done that, you're able to navigate your day with success, knowing what needs to be done, all in order. And of course, sometimes things don't go according to plan, but because you've got a structure, you've got something to face back and look back on and turn around and make it work the way it needs to. Then let's move into the evening, nighttime routine. Nighttime is something that should absolutely be there as a chance to reset. The evening should be a chance where we can just take time to restock, regroup, rebalance from the day in the hope to enjoy a good sleep where the mind can just switch off and we can just start again anew.
I'm sure you might have heard things about an evening routine, and that can include anything from taking a bath, that can do anything from having a moment of solace and a moment of gratitude. Something that I really like to do of an evening is just have time to recalibrate, just 10 minutes, somewhere between coming from downstairs and going into bed, and just taking time to just come down from the day. That might be reading a book, that might be meditating, that might be doing some yoga or something that's like a mindful practice. But that little space in between switching off from the day and actually enjoying that time to get into your bed and enjoy a restful slumber is absolutely life-changing, because it gives your mind a chance to just exhale. It gives a chance for the body to relax, and it tells the brain that it's sleep time now, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy a lovely sleep.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We are having the most fascinating discussion with brain coach Iaia Colella. And this is a brilliant conversation because you're giving us so much insight into something that I don't think a lot of us, unless we've been at that level, can really understand, but you're explaining it so beautifully. Yeah. So with this, how can the practices you use with your elite athletes work for us day to day, you know, if we're not quite there?
Well, the brain is the same. So even if you are no athletes, we are no athletes, the brain has the same mechanism. So all the things that we spoke about the neurotransmitters and the dopamine and the cortisol that we have in our body is something that works for everyone. So we don't need to be an athlete to think like one, I like to say. We can say that. And it's something that we can apply and build new habits, we can say, that allow us to improve our cognitive skills. So we can improve our focus, we can improve our emotional regulation, and it can be useful for a student before an exam, or a manager before a meeting or before an interview. I remember that I used a lot visualization before my exam when I was a student. So I used to visualize what kind of answer I was going to do, or the emotional state that I will want to feel, and it was useful, of course, for all the things that we already mentioned, and it's definitely something that when you understand how your brain works, and you start to use it as an accelerator instead of a brake.
Actually, that's a lovely phrase, isn't it? Use your
really
brain as an accelerator, not a brake.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So with this, somebody out there will be listening to this and they will go, yeah, but I have visualization techniques, and I know this because my brain will second guess that and go, yeah, but it doesn't work. And of course, immediately you think that's when it's going to release all of the cortisol. So how do we get over that hump? We really want to do it, but something in there is the limitation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first limitation for me is understand why these tools work. So visualization work because it's based on a principle that is that your mind doesn't distinguish a real experience from a vivid mental one.
Okay.
So there are a lot of research and neuroscience teach us that when you visualize something, you are activating the same brain circuits that you do when you do that action.
Wow.
So if you start to understand this, also maybe the motivation to keep consistency in doing this, because visualization is a tool, but you need to be consistent and you need to apply in the proper way. So it's definitely something that even if you are not an athlete, you can apply even 5 minutes per day, and you visualize, as I was mentioned, an exam the day before, or a performance, if you have a talk show, or if you have to, or maybe you are a singer or something else, but it's definitely something that can help in the daily life.
Definitely, I love it.
Yes, it's brilliant that it can translate into daily life. And how often then should people be practicing these techniques for the most benefit? And can people who are not as regimented and have a training schedule like an athlete, can they benefit from a little and often practice of these techniques?
Definitely. So it's not about practice this tool for hours, but even just 5 minutes could be good to rewire your brain. So it's like brushing your teeth. A small habit that can build mental fitness and increase skills like focus, decision making, and the emotional regulation. And I think that we was thinking about think about like an athlete, even if you're not, and this build this routine of do a visualization or maybe a brief exercise before a high peak state moment. It could be really useful, and our mind, I like to say, is like a blackboard. So we can write, wipe, and rewrite as many times as you want. And an habit is just nothing more than a neural pathway that is strengthened in your brain. So something that everyone can do with just a little bit of consistency.
That's great
It's
to know that.
so good for leaders as well, managers, anyone who wants to improve. It is about understanding that that's simply how the brain works.
That's right.
And it's almost not even trusting in it. It's just do the work. It's a little bit like practicing, isn't it? It's once you've done it a few times, you know you can. And so
and also understanding how it works and why it works, and then doing the practicing, and then you see the results. The theory becomes the practice then, I suppose. Really this has been fascinating. I could talk about it for hours. I know Audrey find it interesting as well. But it's so good. Where can we find out more about yourself and about what you do?
On Instagram, definitely.
Instagram,
Brain Coach, and I share a lot of tools, neuroscience-based tool. More information on my Instagram, and so you can find me.
Our brain coach, Iaia from Business Boost, and she's going to be taking us through a guided visualization, something you can try at home.
Good. So to have a visualization, the first thing is start closing your eyes and take a deep breath into your nose and out from your mouth. One more time, into your nose and out from your mouth. And sit comfortable on the chair and allow yourself this moment just for yourself. And start to imagine in front of you the version of yourself, the future version of yourself, the one that you are working to build, the version of yourself that you want to become. If you're an athlete or if you're a professional or a student, imagine that version and notice how do you carry yourself, how do you move. Look at your posture and the expression, and feel the energy of this version in front of you. What are the thoughts that you have, the emotion that you want to feel? And when you have a clear image in front of you, you can step into that image and feel that you are becoming that version of yourself. Take the posture now of that person. Take the expression that that version of yourself have, and feel the emotion that you want to feel once that become that person. And take a deep breath into your nose and out from your mouth. And take a big smile. Because of course this is something that we already have inside. You already are that person. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
We've reached the last part of the show. This show has just gone so fast.
It has flown.
Thank you so much, Iaia. Now, Jude, this is a bit where we reflect on everything that you've said. What are some of the key things that you've taken? Because there's so much that you've given us that's brilliant.
Yeah, there's an awful lot. I mean, I know that the brain and the body are connected. I think for a long time it was thought that they were separate, and but obviously we know now that they're connected. But what I didn't realise is how much they're connected, and how much you've kind of really painted a real vivid picture about how much your brain can influence your body, especially when you talked about your running your half marathon. That's just incredible. So I think that's kind of a massive takeaway for me, is actually we were talking about dancing, and I just completely lost confidence. So therefore I'm not doing it, and I'm just sitting here thinking, well, no, that's the wrong thing. So maybe I need to kind of broach that again.
Tap into that bit where you felt confident.
Yeah, and just maybe try again with a completely different mindset. So that's a big takeaway for me, I think. What about for you?
Yeah, for me it's that brain and body connection is the first thing, because I know, as I said to you earlier, I will try and think myself out of a situation, but if I don't have the physical, the body side ready for it. So even with your half marathon, you did at least run before. It's not like you didn't run. So I think you have to have something in there first, because I think there's too much out there about law of attraction and so, which is fine if you believe in it and all of that, but it's too much about, well, if I just say it, it happens. It's no. You kind of have to have some of the physical side of that as well. I think I still struggle personally, and this is where I think what you do is so fascinating. Whenever I can visualize something, and then literally I will just choke it. If I think I'm getting too good at it, I'll just choke it. And that's just you saying, but if I'd maybe spent a bit more time visualizing doing it right, which I've done many times before, but now I just throw it away, I'm going to stop releasing cortisol at the last minute, which is just something that I think is just fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're kind of stopping yourself doing something.
Yeah, I'll do it, and I'll know I can do it because I've done it so many times before, and then I'll just go, it's almost like my brain goes, no, you can't be bothered.
Really?
And then I will sabotage it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just something that
I
know that I do now, which I never... Probably because maybe I don't care now. I don't know. Maybe I need to find the passion again. So
Probably just need more training.
Yeah.
With mind and body.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's really interesting.
It's also made me realise something I used to do years ago. I used to ride horses, and I used to do it quite well. But some days it was like I'd never been on a horse before, and I could never work it out. But it's because it's all the days that I used to have a really long day at work, and I used to come and think, still have the weight of the work in my head kind of thing. And if I'd have known some of this, then I might have been able to, put myself in a different headspace. And so I think it applies to so much.
And it is about practice. Because I think that's absolutely right. We're both sitting here saying we just need to get into a different headspace. But you're right in saying, but athletes can do that because they practice it.
Yes.
Yeah, and every one of us, if we know there's something where the mindset needs to shift, we just need to practice shifting that mindset.
Yeah.
And it does work. It does work. So, oh my goodness. Iaia, can you give us one thing, actionable point, that we can go away and do to start training our brain?
Well, we can definitely use the visualization that we just practice. It is 3 minutes, 4 minutes of visualization that definitely allow you to feel good emotion. So in that case, just apply it and do it 5 minutes per day, and it will be useful to, you know, create more, build your confidence and feel good emotion at least 5 minutes a day. That is always a good point.
Yes, only 5 minutes a day. Only 5 minutes a day.
Minutes.
You can do that whilst you're brushing your teeth, really, can't you?
Absolutely.
Well, from all of us here at Mental Health Matters, have a healthy week.